last video, I showed you how to prepare your photos and your images, and I should also mention that if you upload any PDF files, they go through the media library. Now I'm going to show you how to create a post. The first thing that I recommend you do is become familiar with the website itself, its structure, how it's set up. You'll see that the website is set up with categories that are in line with the print version. So you have a news section where you also have briefs, you have sports, you have a life section which also includes anything that you publish that's related to the college community or the cities around the college. You have arts and entertainment. You have opinion, which should always be kept separate from any other type of news because news should be objective and opinion is exactly that. It's someone's opinion or it's the opinion of the entire editorial board. The Lariat also publishes some special editions, including an April Fool's edition and a Halloween edition. And they also have archives of the print editions, which are kept on issue.com. So you'll see on the home page here that you have a slider that is your top stories. You have, for your viewers, you have a search function. Here's a link to the news publication social media accounts, the current print issue, and then you have chronologically the top stories. The story here on the home page shows the headline, the first probably 35 words or so, and a link for the reader to click on to view more. It also shows the date it was published, who the author is, and the categories that it includes. Viewers can also look at archives that go back to 2007 when this website was first established. So this is quite an in-depth archive. There's also popular posts here that are propagated by what's called a plugin, which is a third-party application. Down at the bottom, you see we have room for advertisements. We repeat the social links, the archives. This is what's important to you because this is how you'll log into the website. You're going to click here, Lariat Staff Login, and it will take you here to this page here. Based on how your account was set up, you will type in either your username or the email address and your password. You can select Remember Me if you're using your own computer, and it will actually make what's called a cookie and store that for you, so the next time you log in you won't have to retype the password. I don't recommend you do this if you're using the Chrome browser and you're using the Chrome browser in the lab or somewhere that you're sharing a computer, because it will store it. It will store it as a cookie. It will be accessible to others, so I highly recommend you don't do this. I'm going to click Login, and it's going to take me, pause here, let me type my password. And it will take you to what's called the dashboard. Now, what you see here on my screen will look different on your screen because there's different levels of users. So staff members are generally authors, editors, contributors, and once someone's off the staff, you're still a subscriber, so that you can come in and you can, for example, if you want to make a portfolio a year from now of your work, you easily can search your name and find your work. Here's a graphic that shows the default user levels in WordPress. As a staff member, you'll be assigned a specific level which will allow you to complete any tasks you're assigned. The top level is admin, which allows full access. Most of you will have editor access, so you will see these options in your dashboard. From your dashboard, if you click Posts, there's 4 different items under here. The first thing that you'll see are a chronological listing of all the posts. So there's more than 5,000 posts in here right now. You can sort these based on these parameters, or you can search for a post based on a keyword. When you mouse over this, you'll see this is blue. It's a hyperlink. If you need to go back in and make an edit or change to this, this is where you would do it from. The author, the categories, the tags, the featured image or the FIFO, how many comments it has, and the date that it was published. When you first create a post, you will save it as a draft because you don't want to publish it to the internet until it's copy edited, it's been verified, it's ready to go. Quick edit would be if you wanted to make any of these brief changes, if you want to take it from published back to a draft or a pending review. If you want to add your tags in after, if you want to make a change to your categories, you want to change the published date or time, you want to change the title, or actually don't change the slug. Please don't start changing these. Categories are based on the print version. So for example, if you get the newspaper, the physical newspaper, your breaking news or your hard news will generally be on the cover. And inside you will have your life, your arts and entertainment, your life being like your feature stories, and your arts and entertainment. You have sports and you'll have opinion. You may also have advertising and things like that in a print newspaper. So we try to set up the website similar to that, and we do that with categories. So you shouldn't be making new categories at this point, but I just want you to be familiar with what they are, and I'll show you how you assign those in your post. Tags are keywords, what search engines use when they search for things. This is really good if you want people to search on a certain word and your story will come up. It's called search engine optimization. I just want you to know why it's important that you take a few seconds when you create a post to do this. All right, so now we're going to show you how to create a new post. I'm going to click Add New, and I want to walk you through what all this screen is. You'll see it's set up with a 2-column format, or actually a 3-column if you include the menu over here on the left. In the middle here, this is actually where you're going to do any edits. And over here, you're going to do this last, and these are the things you're going to add in. You're going to select your categories, your tags, and you're going to add your featured image. When you prepare your copy, you'll want to do that in a word processing application. I prefer Google Docs. You could be using, for example, Microsoft Word. This is all edited, this is ready to go. So I'm just going to copy paste this from my Google Doc into WordPress into a post. So here's my suggested headline. Paste as plain text. If you're using, I'll right click and show you that again. If you are using Chrome, this is a good habit to get into. Paste as plain text versus just paste, because a lot of these programs have what's called proprietary code, which could change your HTML and the way it looks. So good practice when you're just starting out, paste it as plain text. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add my copy in from my story. All right, I'm just going to take the first couple graphs here. I'm going to copy, go back to my post. I'm going to put my cursor in the editing box here. You can see it flashing, and I'm going to right click, paste as plain text. You have two different options here. Let me minimize this so you're not watching that. You have two options here. You can use the visual editor, or you can use what's called the text editor. This is if you already have knowledge of HTML or some of the design techniques, the styles you want to use, then you can use this and you can actually see the HTML code. But for now, I'm just going to stick with the visual representation of this. In my editor, I have a lot of tools here that I can use. For example, if you want to use a header, like different styles, you have heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, all the way down to 6. And those are already pre-formatted. This would be a style you might have. For example, if you have a subhead that you want to use in your story, I'm going to make that you might have predetermined in your style that that's going to be a heading 3. I'm going to make this H3 so you can see what it looks like. Here's bold, italic, so you would select the text you want and you would add in those two styles. Some of the other things you can do, you can add bullets, a numbered list, a block quote. Now, a block quote would be used, for example, if you have a quote you want to pull out, like a pull quote or a very long quote. Here's your alignment: left, center, right. This is if you want to insert a link. Anytime you have a link or think of it as a citation that's going to go to the web somewhere, you want to use this tool. So you'll select the text. For example, I'm going to say Saddleback College just to show you, and I want to link to the college's website. So I'm going to select this, and I'm going to select this cog here because I want to see this whole box. And I'm going to type the Saddleback College's website here. I'm going to select Open Link in a new tab because I don't want the person to click on it, go off to Saddleback College's website. Oops, I forgot. I was on the Lariat website. That'll open a new tab, so the Lariat website is still there in a different tab. You can also use it this way if you want to link to another story that already exists. I'm going to click Add Link, and you can see it changed color. It made it kind of a purpley blue, and it's underlined. So that's a hyperlink. This would be these other tools. I don't think you'll really need to worry about those at this point. You can use this to paste this text if you'd like, but I think if you want to learn more about these, you can Google and figure out what they are, but you can also toggle them off if you don't need them. Right here, I'll turn off the extra row. So that's ready, that's edited, it's about 200 words. Now I'm going to go to this other side here. Publish. You want to just select Save Draft. Do not hit publish until your editors, your top level editors say this is ready to go live to the internet. You want to select one main category. You don't want to select 15 of these. I see too many stories that have multiple categories. This is how you do it. Arts and entertainment would be like music or a review of an art show. Briefs would be breaking news that are like 100 to 150 words. Featured are stories that you want to appear in the banner ad at the top. Again, this is a top level editor's decision. Life would be feature style stories. And then you have these subcategories. So for example, if I do a story about a BLM protest in Mission Viejo and several students participated and I'd interviewed them and now I got the story online, I'm going to select life and I'm going to select community, but I'm not going to select briefs, news, everything else. But it's really breaking news, so I'm going to select featured. I'm going to hope that the top level editor is going to really think this is important and put it in the featured section. And I'm going to leave those two checked. Go through these and become familiar with what's here. There's a lot, there's quite a bit. Remember, this website goes back to 2007, so some of these we don't use at all anymore. Tags are for you make these up. Basically, you want to pull keywords from your story. So for example, this story is about retirement. And you'll see words come up that are suggested: retirement plan. You probably want no more than 5 of these. I'd say 3 words is good. I'm going to call golden handshake. Every post needs a featured image, and I showed you how to size and prepare your images in an earlier video. So I've actually already uploaded this image here. I've given it a caption, and I'm just going to select featured image, and it's going to put it in there for me. And that's pretty much all you need to do. Now I'm going to save my draft. But what does it really look like? Because right now we're just looking at it in the editor. Click Preview, and in another tab it will launch what it will actually look like on the internet. Here's my headline. Here's my subhead. Now I want to put that photo inside the story as well, because if I don't do it, I'll show you where it shows up, but it doesn't show in the story. So I'm going to put it here under my subhead. I'm going to select Add Media. This is important here. I'm going to select the image, and I'm going to go down here to Attachment Display Settings. Alignment is going to be none, and you want it to link to the media file, and just click Insert into Post. Now I had already typed my caption. My caption replicates right here under the photo. So now let's see what it looks like. It's very clean. The photo looks nice. It's a nice size. Now once this is published, it will show up in what's called the archive page for the category. So the featured image would pull up here in the story there, but it's not published yet, so it won't. So I'm going to select Publish just briefly to show you what this would look like. I'm going to click View Posts. We already saw that. I'm going to click Home because it will show up right here in the latest stories. All right. It will also show in what's called the archive page for each of the categories. So if it's under Life and it's under Community, it would show in those two archives. So if someone selected Community from the menu, it would show up here, and because we just did it, it would be at the top. Once your story's been reviewed by your editor and it's ready to be once your story is edited and ready to be published, then whoever is given that task would select the Publish button. Then you can promote it on your publication's social media, and you can share it with your family and friends and get everybody excited. And that's about all there is. So good luck and have a good time.